Lama, can you hear me?
Yes, Rinpoche, we hear you okay.
Wonderful. Okay. As my teacher used to say sometimes, shall we begin? Good morning to everyone. I hope your day has been pleasant so far. And may it continue to be pleasant so far. And appears that the sun is out, and I'm assuming perhaps there's some snow on the caps of the high mountains. I haven't had the opportunity to peruse that far. On the mountains that are close to me, not quite yet, but I'm waiting to see. So again, just a few thoughts. Take a breath in, please. Breathing out. And resting upon your seat. Releasing in your body. Releasing in your breath. And releasing in your heart, mind. When we say mind, sometimes we think, oh, in my mind. This is just your brain. Maybe, and we have many research and conclusive evidence that it is the thinking body. I have a text that's actually the name of it, and there's many research projects and information of that sort. The thinking body. Again, I'm sure Master Dawala, you're very familiar with the thinking body. And you don't hear too much about it now, but maybe you also employ what we'll call zonotherapy. Zonotherapy, but also another one of my acquaintances and colleagues who just passed spoke of prenatal therapy and dissecting and investigating the conditions prior to us leaving the womb. So prenatal therapy or prenatal approach to our various forms of existence. But no matter how you may look at it in all its diversity, it comes down to this presentness. And I try to catch myself, as I've said to you, not to say present moment, because there's sort of a sense of the language maybe facilitates a stoppage, present stoppage moment. But presentness, all pervasive throughout the totality of the multiverse, of the multi-cosmos, Maybe there are many universes existing simultaneously as there are realities existing simultaneously. Perhaps there are alternate cosmos existing simultaneously. If you were to talk to a theoretical physicist, I'm sure they would go, well, everybody knows that. What are you talking about? So in this complex multi-cosmic universe that we exist, what is most important? Last night, just to share some thoughts as we begin, and we'll do the Long Vajrasattva recitations today to restore our samya and to restore our damsik, meaning nothing more than to remind ourselves of our focal commitment and to acknowledge and lay aside those things that we have admitted that should have been placed and those things that we have omitted that should not have been placed. So listening to another Rinpoche, and I remember I used to again use it myself, is to recognize those various dynamics, to acknowledge them, take responsibility for them, and then lay them aside. Perhaps the mundane way is to look at our frailties and our shortcomings, our difficulties, etc., and sort of wear them like marks, the mark like the feud between Cain and Abel. We have the mark of Cain, I think, upon us, and we constantly beat ourselves. I am not good enough. I can't do this. I don't have that. I wish I could. Why shouldn't I? Why didn't I? And on and on and on. Lay them aside, at least for this hour and 50 minutes, whatever we may have. Lay aside. Whatever happened yesterday, fini. It's nothing more than a chemical mirage, a melee of a mixture that's not even high octane. We're running on low octane diffused fuel. I'm glad Lama smiled a little bit because this is very much in his language. The octane of the fuel determines the dynamic of its output. And we are endowed with the highest of octane that the universe could provide. How do we know that? We're present. And all the conditions that go into allowing us to be present or be immeasurable. And if one of those aspects was to be altered, then it would alter our presentness. Talking to a gentleman this morning, I don't think he would mind. You never know. A simple thing that you're dealing with, and then one says, oh, by the way, I had brain surgery. My little problem went right out the window. Oh, puts it in perspective. And how are you doing? I'm doing fine, no problem. And then he goes on to describe how they cut away, cut this way, and pull back and drill the hole into his cranial area to remove this particular growth, which was not cancerous, right? And so I've been thinking about that. And I'm sure you probably have other stories, either from your own experience or from your acquaintances, etc. And you will see something and you'll go, as I've said, we are all quite blessed, aren't we? But we take it for granted in the total scheme of our existence in this multiverse or cosmic arena. So that was one story from this morning, a teaching, I would say. And as I was again thinking about Where are you now? Trying to collect my feeble thoughts. Where are you? Where are we? We have been involved in this process, some for many, many, many years. Has there been any significant change that one could ascribe to or recognize? I would like to think so. I would say yes, there has been. As I uh, casually, and maybe more so than we recognize, know each other at a deep level, even though we may not be able to vocalize it. So, as I've been trying to analyze and dissect and deconstruct or construct my own experience at this particular phase, what is important? So, this stems from a conversation, again, I had last night with one of my teachers, Lama Dawa Rinpoche. And then I said, I would just give you some credibility. We like, well, who is this person and what makes them an authority and what makes them credible and blah, blah, blah. Well, Lama Dawa Rinpoche happens to be and was the heart disciple of Dudjom Rinpoche and Jodrem Rinpoche and Khinsen Rinpoche, among who knows a number of others. He is definitely one of those hidden Naradrupa. He's a hidden yogi and highly realized. I think he's maybe in his 80s now. I'm not even sure. And he's starting to look very much like Jodrem Rinpoche. Maybe I will send a picture with his permission. But he was also a student to Tulku Urgyen Rinpoche. And through his grace, I was able to receive blessings and teachings from Dudjom Rinpoche's Yangtze. I spent 2 weeks in retreat in Kalimpong in India with him, and every day sat in front of a statue, which he showed me again last night and said, remember that you sat in front of the presence of the great Dudjom Rinpoche. And maybe they will send their picture, which I may be able to get to you. But to make this a little bit short, we talked and had some reminiscent conversation of how long we've known each other, which has been many, many years, 20 years or more, maybe 30 years or more. I think I met the Lama Dawa Rinpoche maybe around 1988, 1989, somewhere in there. And so I really have a long-term history with my teachers and try to stay in contact with them and honor them in some way. But we talked for a while, and he gave me reading transmission and blessings of 7-line prayer, Guru Mantra, and Dusu Sungye, and then the dedication. It was sort of very spontaneous. Afterwards, I asked him, what did he think was the most important thing that we should practice now? So back up for a moment, as I was about to say, as I was doing my own dissecting. Conscious entities within a multiverse. To be conscious. Are you conscious? Now, being conscious, we take for granted, but is there awareness of that consciousness? Or are we just being, I don't know, like a leaf in the wind, they say. And maybe a leaf in the wind has more direction than some of us. We dawdle about, wander about, drag ourselves about, confuse ourselves about, distracted, and so forth and so on. A poor example of being conscious. We have one thought at one moment, and then like a fly, it's here and there, and we can't even focus for 3 minutes. 3 minutes of focus. 1 minute of focus. We have difficulty. You know the trick of the pause. Again, 1 moment meditation of stillness, 1 moment Buddha. 2 moments Buddha. 3 moments, and so forth and so on. Conscious awareness, or conscious of this awareness, that they are interlocked together with their inherent qualities. If I am conscious and there's an awareness thereof, then is there a perception of the awareness that is conscious and what is in its domain. So we have conscious, we have awareness, and to perceive. What is the lens of perception? If we have this ability to perceive, then are we present in that moment of perception? Are we present? How does the dynamics of the causality of a moment affect us? That takes us to my other P, is perspective. So we have perception, perspective. What way do you look at your existence? Takes us back to the beginning of the formula or the equation. How do I look at this existence? What is my perspective? Do I look at it with abundance, or do I have the quality of lack? Or neutral, non-caring, nonchalant, just daddling through the day and then it's gone. And you lie down and the next day it comes and it's gone. Until finally you realize there are no more days to come and gone because we, poof, are gone. And you go, rats, I missed the journey. Be conscious, no matter what it is, up, down, indifferent, laughing, crying, angry, enjoy the journey. As I said to my students earlier this week in another class, the dead don't feel. Now I know already someone has said, well, they're zombies and they're walking around and they're doing this and blah, blah, blah. But zombies don't feel, because if they did, how could they eat flesh and have their head bashed in and get up and still walk around? Someone hit me in the head and with a bat, and I'm not going back for that again. But we do. So maybe the analogy, metaphorically, we do live sort of zombie-like conditions. With some of the things that we do, you would have to think they come from a non-feeling and a non-thinking and a non-awareness, even though there seems to be some state of consciousness. So going back to that word, when I spoke to Lama Dawa Rinpoche, who's in Kalimpong in India, in retreat, semi-retreat, semi-seclusion with his attendants and another young Toku Sangye Rinpoche. Again, as I said earlier, I asked him, what is the main practice that we should do now? And I can remember the Tibetan, Ranyan Yeshe, Yeshe, wisdom, I believe. I could be wrong, but I will use it in that respect, even if I am now. Wisdom. Awareness, he said. Awareness. And then he said, in English, awareness. Only awareness. He always liked to go, only the one. Awareness. And so I said, oh, Rigpa. He just, no, not Rigpa. Awareness. So I didn't ask, could he expound upon that, which I will at some point, but I just kept thinking, awareness. Are you aware? Maybe you say, yes, I am. I'm aware. Really? Then Krishnamurti, he was saying, if there is someone who is saying, I am aware, then you are not. But if you are saying, I am not aware, then you are not. When you remain in the essence, in the sea, in the vastness of awareness, and let it be. This is what I heard from Rinpoche. So when he said these words, I've been just so simple, isn't it? So simple. We want to make it complicated, but we need a little complicated, because even Rinpoche, Kunchuk Mother Rinpoche said, you can't just have people sitting there in awareness, they get bored. Who gets bored? I get bored. Well, where's the I of boredom? Oh, that takes us back to awareness. Take a breath in. And in the simplicity, well, the yoga of simplicity, we'll have to do Rinpoche's yoga of simplicity, which is the practice of allowing all to arise, dwell, and cease within the vastness, spatiality, and luminous, spontaneous arising of awareness. Rest. What should I do? That's an interruption. Oh, I shouldn't do. That's an interruption. I don't know how to do. That's an interruption. We are so accustomed to interruptions. We don't mind. Our life is an interruption. We interrupt the life until there's no life. And perhaps this is only my own warped perception. The interruption of life is taken to be life itself. But it's not. It's only a constant distraction. And our culture, our society, is based on sleight of hand, distraction, interruption, self-centered ego cherishing. And to amend something I was been thinking, let's not give the shackles to ego. Just because you have a hammer and you hit someone over the head or on the hand or break something, doesn't mean that hammer could not be used to build something quite beautiful, like your homes or your furniture, etc. So it's learning how to make use in the most definitive way of what we are blessed with. I wonder, myself included, will we go through the day with conscious awareness and presence and perception and a perspective of how we are blessed? I thought to myself, I can go on this technology and see the face of my teacher and receive blessings and reading transmission and key point. Lama Dao Rinpoche is always directly to the point. Go to Salt Lake City and stay. Okay, I did that. It was due to Lama, this teacher, because I asked him, should I remain in Salt Lake City? Should I go and just stay in Nagi Gampa? No, you go back. I didn't say that to him. I only said it to me. It's a joke, joking. But again, last night speaking to him, and I said I wanted to share this with you, whatever it might be. The main practice, he said, is awareness. Toko Organ Rinpoche, main practice, Rikpa, the unity of emptiness and knowingness, or the emptiness and clarity and rest. Kunjok Mother Rinpoche, Jata Rinpoche, Khyentse Rinpoche, Namakai, oh, look toward, let go, rest. Rest in what? That's thinking. But we have to have an indicator. We need a PowerPoint, one of those red laser beams. When we see the red laser beam, like a cat, we like the cat, looking here, looking there. So once we have a direction, then we can place ourselves. And going back to what Rinpoche said, awareness. Take a breath in, breathe out, space between the thumbs. Let your eyes rest, look neither in nor out. Breathe gently in through the mouth and gently out through the mouth. Let go and let be. Rest. And in that moment of resting, was there anything you needed to do? Not really, but more than likely you did do out of conditionality. We are conditioned. Even when we're resting, we're spinning. Ian, don't worry. Don't worry. Only be present. All things unfold accordingly. The seed of your objective at an unconscious, conscious level has already been laid. I think you understand. Yeah? Good. So don't worry. Whether in this moment, or moments to come, or in some life to come, your desire as young Bodhisattva was accomplished. It doesn't matter. The sun shines briefly, but the sun has already imparted its energy. So don't worry. Take a breath in. And again, Lama Dawa Rinpoche, don't you, I have to, sometimes I just laugh and go, I've been cut and bent and broken in so many ways, but I am still here. It's sort of amazing, I think. You can walk upright like one of those wind-up dolls. You just keep fixing the gears and it just keeps going on. I hope for quite some time that I want to follow in the footsteps of my teachers. But it's so amazing that here we are with this technology, almost maybe it's been 2 years down the road, and we've had contact, at least I've had contact with my teachers, Kunchok Mother Rinpoche, Lama Gelik, Dorji Rinpoche, Lama Dawa Rinpoche, which I've been in contact I've always been in contact. And all as I told you, as I said to someone, my goal or desire is at least perhaps to be a good acquaintance. I'm not such a good friend, but I think I can be a good acquaintance. And maybe I will arrive at being a worthy guide. As far as teacher, that's always debatable. I've met real teachers. I know real teachers, and I only try to emulate them. And as an acquaintance, and perhaps as a friend, and maybe approaching a guide, I want to share with you what I continue to receive from my various teachers that are in retreat, whether they're in Bhutan, or in India, and in Nepal, and in China, in Germany, in America, and so forth. May you receive their blessings. May the seeds germinate in the path of your mind, in the path of your heart-mind. And may the path of your head and the path of your heart be combined. And may they do so as they did in this last life, in this life, and your lives to come, for the benefit of all sentient beings. Again, I was reminded, what is the purpose of our Dharma practice? Is to follow the path of truth so that we may be the revealers that alleviate the suffering of the infinite amount of sentient beings that are as vast as space. My goal, your goal, I hope, and everything else supersedes that. Everything else sort of comes under that. That is the seed, the crux of what guides. What greater gift could you pursue in this life than the path of truth? Not someone else's truth. You must discover your truth. In the discovery of your truth, you must be open to the path of life and the path of death. We do not shun either one. Take a breath in again. That's all I'm hearing at this moment. Again, the simplicity of the practice, awareness. So, Mama Dawa, first, I was talking to his attendant, and they said, Mama Dawa wants you to look first. So he showed me a statue that has relics of Dojo Rinpoche. I spent 2 weeks in front of that statue every day, and then sat in the room where Dojo Rinpoche practiced, and in his small retreat room also, which Lama Dawa put me in on several occasions, locked the door, so I couldn't get out. They just laughed. But he said, look first. And so I saw all this, the Kanjo and Tanjo, the teachings of the Buddha and the commentaries, and then all of the various other texts and the statues, etc., which I was able to sit directly in front of, which had been moved from Dorje Rinpoche's house to a different house in Kalampong, where Rinpoche is in the retreat. And it wasn't until I had looked at those things, and now it comes to me, he was showing me the relic. He was showing me, first, receive the blessings of the Buddha, of the Dharma, of the Sangha, and then lastly, receive the blessings of the Lama, the Rinpoche, who is the embodiment of Dharma and Buddha, Dharma, Sangha. Another quick story. When I went to, I was going to Bodh Gaya, which we wound up at a different place. I met 3 lamas. These were like Kappa, big lama, but really strong. Big boys, and they talk like this. Dr. Rinpoche, where you from? You don't play around with these guys. I think I showed Lama this picture. Anyway, he sent me a picture, but the picture is of the offerings of the Buddha, Dharma, Sangha, and Lama in the form of the 4 objects that one to receive. And he only speaks to me in Tibetan. So I have to go and try to decipher what is he saying, other than always remember to practice for the benefit of all sentient beings. Receive the blessings of the Triple Gem and remove all negativity from within. Breathe in. Probably enough. Rest your mind in awareness. It's sort of strange to say, rest in awareness. Maybe better to recognize the continuity of the great expanse of the never-ending awareness. That awareness is the essence and the nature of the Guru's mind. It is the essence and the nature of your very own precious mind. Maybe that's a little bit hard to take in. I look at this, and I remember when this concept of, even still now, how can this disturbed, distorted, fractured, and fragile mind be anything compared to that of Guru Rinpoche's? But to think like that is wrong thinking. That is only diluted, tainted thinking. So Wednesday, I believe Wednesday, Lamala was Sojong, I think. So we're doing Sojong. We'll do the abbreviated Sojong. And one of the main breakages of Damsak and Samya is wrong thinking. And one of the main wrong thinking, at least I believe I've heard, is that we do not have this enlightened nature. We do not have this enlightened essence in nature conjoined together, expressing itself in a loving, kind, and compassionate, equanimous, and joyous way. So let go of wrong thinking. If one continues to entertain that type of thinking, then this is the breakage of Samya. So perhaps what we want to engage in doing now is restoring that Samya, that you recognize at this very moment that the nature of your consciousness and this awareness is the enlightened essence and nature and conjoined together of all of the Buddhas of the past, present, and future. Granted, the difference, as I was reading advice to the advice from the Lotus Point, the difference though is the enlightened ones stay or remain and rest in the continuity of that recognition. We, as sentient beings, briefly or sprinkled with the wetness thereof, but mostly dry. So we stray. And through practice is the removing the afflicting and divergent aspects that set up this constant back and forth. We recognize no confidence. We want something more profound. We run after it, not found, suffering. So again, breathe in and just rest for a moment. Oh, sitting by the stream yesterday, watching the leaves float away. And as the water fell over the rocks, bubbles would form. And I looked at the bubbles and said, oh, that's my life. In an instant, it is gone. But when the bubble burst, I sat and watched and observed. The bubble arose from the stream of the water of life, of consciousness. And when it burst, where did it go? Nothing more than back to that which had came before. So the bubble and the water and its manifestation was one and the same. Without the water falling down over the rocks, no bubble would have came. Rest, live like a bubble floating on a stream. And when it burst, remember, it has all been just a dream. But nothing is lost, nothing is gained, everything remains seemingly the same. Flow like the water, whichever remains. Take a breath in, please. Breathe out and rest on this wonderful Sunday morning. Oh, I don't have to drive to teach. Already I feel less stress. Professor, you understand what I'm saying, right? Oh, pardon for a minute. Excuse me, Monsieur, Madame. Pardon. I have to talk to you. I call you later on. I have an idea for our Buto show in December. I come and visit you too, which I have to do anyway. So I want you to start. Let me just tell them real quick. I must plant this seed. 2 large canvases, which you have to paint. The dancers are in the middle. They emerge on the center stage. Music and the poetry. Music and poetry and dance and visual arts all intersect together in a happening. It's coming to me more and more. Take a breath in, please. And as I said, again, sometimes I think, how did I stumble? This particular text, which you'll probably go and try to find it, Teachings from the Vajrasattva Retreat. And this is by Lama Sopa Rinpoche. It had to be in the 80s. It had to be somewhere in there. I don't even remember. But I spent 5 days in retreat and teaching with Lama Sopa Rinpoche. So that's why I always, when I see Lama Sopa Rinpoche, I always feel a special connection to him too. So I just read one little passage about the Vajrasattva practice from this text as we begin today. But from that resting in that awareness, as I said, which is inseparable from one's own enlightened or realized nature, Guru Rinpoche arises the manifestation of all of the Buddhas of the past, present, and future. And even if it's just the presence of Guru Rinpoche, this is good. So you say, most precious Guru, please think of me. Bestow the blessings that will free and ripen my mind, so that I may realize as quickly as possible, for the benefit of all sentient beings. Most precious Guru, please think of me. Bestow the blessings that will free and ripen my mind, so that I may realize as quickly as possible, for the benefit of all sentient beings. Most precious Guru, please think of me. Bestow the blessings that will free and ripen my mind, so that I may realize as quickly as possible, for the benefit of all sentient beings. Namo Lama Lakabzujo Zinga Lakabzujo 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 Lama Lakabzujo Zinga Lakabzujo Lakabzujo Get Lakabzujo Lama Lakabzujo Zinga Lakabzujo Lakabzujo Get Lakabzujo Lama Lakabzujo Zinga Lakabzujo you know, like a dojo, lama like a dojo, zanga like a dojo, like a dojo, get a like a dojo, lama like a dojo, zanga like a dojo, like a dojo, get a like a dojo, lama like a dojo, zanga like a dojo, like a dojo, get a like a dojo, lama like a dojo, zanga like a dojo, like a dojo, get a like a dojo, lama like a dojo, zanga like do get a like a dojo, lama like a dojo, zanga like a dojo, like a dojo, get a like a dojo, lama like a dojo, zanga like a dojo, like a dojo, get a like a dojo, lama like a dojo, zanga like a dojo, like a dojo, get a like a dojo. Lama like a dojo, zanga like a dojo, like a dojo, get a like a dojo, lama like a dojo, zanga like a dojo, like a dojo, get a like a dojo, lama like a dojo, zanga like a dojo. Get a like a dojo, lama like a dojo, zanga like a dojo, like a dojo, get a like a dojo, lama like a dojo, zanga like a dojo, like a dojo, get a like a dojo, lama like a dojo, zanga like a dojo, like a dojo, get a like a dojo. Lama like a dojo, zanga like a dojo, like a dojo, get a like a dojo, lama like a dojo, zanga like a dojo, like a dojo, get a like a dojo. Lama like a dojo, zanga like a dojo, like a dojo, get a like a dojo. Having established the motivation and the intention and arisen the quality of bodhicitta, it cannot be only for when we say, please think of me. Why think of me? So I can be of greater benefit to others. Sentient beings are infinite. I vow to liberate them. Delusions are inexhaustible. I vow to transcend them. Dharma gates are boundless. I vow to enter them. Buddha's enlightened way is unsurpassable. I vow to embody it. Sentient beings are numberless. I vow to liberate them. Delusions are inexhaustible. I vow to transcend them. Dharma gates are boundless. I vow to enter them. Buddha's enlightened way is unsurpassable. I vow to embody it. Sentient beings are numberless. I vow to liberate them. Our delusions are inexhaustible. I vow to transcend them. Dharma gates are boundless. I vow to enter them. Buddha's enlightened way is unsurpassable. I vow to embody it. And you should visualize all the bodhisattvas, both the Mahayana and the Theravada tradition, the 16, we could say the 8 or 16 arahats, 8 or 16 or more bodhisattvas. Jambe galvo virar padamba nula numba daje damba jen dubu taba zada bada ne senjen jamje langlu dambe bal geje chaba zarra daba de senjen debe daje belbe wa jewa chaba gela zaza lo jamba junur bade doje jen Red and one wumbo dambe bell, Gaye nimbo rimba nambaza, Nanga nimbo bajo londo zong, doje baga londo, Nobo dawa de namaye, Zazen hana naze baje do, Chanje simba gela daza lor, Rende doje taze doyena, Dun 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 gamo damo la nina dun 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 babiru. Ninyu dun zen wangu lulu de rende doje geje jazen jen. Doje gawa jen jen jeje ma jejo jowa dende babiru. Daje namo lula daza lu zamba zembo dun dun dene Dun dun da dum 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 bage dun da dum ma ne da nandu je je gulu dun do jo dun da dun dun do je jen Mario ru do je ga do jen za do je ge je da we Jiden do wa gula da ga lu da do je wa dun Jedan Jawa Jawa Gunjone Dundum Bel Bel Zendun Jejeru Taje Dele Bundun Zumbajo Tajo Dende Jawa Dundula Jedan Jawa Jawa Gunjone Dundum Bel Bel Zendun Jejeru Taje Dele Bundun Zumbajo Tajo Dende Jawa Dundula Yidan Jawa Jamba Gundo Ne Dundun Belbe Dundun Yejedu Daje Dele Bunzo Sum Haisho. So maybe just as the sound is permeating the space and being absorbed as a perception, so are the blessings of the enlightened ones permeate the totality of space and are being absorbed. Junam Jili Gili Jun Zedun Seje Jebe Sun Gula Kumbu Ganyen Ba Jinjun Jimbo Jige Sun Duwa Dada Samba Ye Sange Todan Gedon La Janjun Nimbo Jige Ba Taba Dane Gabzu Ji Zirab Ninze Dan Jebe Sumbe Senje Jundudan Sange Jundu Nege De Sumbe Jinju Sumge Do Jeze Namga Nambada Nowa Jeze Nego Ba Jeze Doje Nego Ne Nowa Darga Zowa So Jonam Jele Gele Jon Dejon Jeze Jebe Zon Gula Gumbu Ganye Ba Jenjon Jembo Dige Zon Dowa Dada Zamba Yi Sangye Dodan Gedon La Jenjo Nebo Jige Ba Taba Dane Gabzu Ji Shirab Nanze Danje Be Zombe Jenje Dondo Da Sangye Dondo Nege De Zombe Jenjo Sengye Do Jeze Nanga Nabada Doba Jeze Nego Ba Jeze Doje Nego Ne Doba Derga Zawa So Jonam Jele Gele Jon Dejon Jele Jebe Zon Gula Gumbu Ganya Ba Jenjo Jembo Jige Zon Doba Dada Samba Yi Sangye Dodan Gedon La Jenjo Nibo Jige Ba Tabadane kabzuji jira nanje nanje be zombe jenje dundu da zange dundu nege de zombe jenzo zimge do jeze nanga nambadang dowa jeze nego ba jeze doje nego ne dowa dega dowa so. All phenomena arise from their causes. Their causes are explained by the Buddha. Cessation of these causes are taught thus by the great sage. With a wish to free all beings, I shall always go for refuge to the Buddha, Dharma, and Sangha until I reach full enlightenment. Enthused by wisdom and compassion today in the Buddha's presence, I generate the mind for full awakening for the benefit of all sentient beings. As long as space remains, as long as sentient beings remain, until then may I too remain and dispel the misery and suffering and the causality of ignorance, misplaced desire, and anger in this world through loving kindness and compassion. When I say this last statement, and anger in this world, a healthcare worker, and I mean not to be political, whatever one does, however one lives and dies, you make your choice. But he said to me, which I thought was an interesting observation, who knew that this virus would create such diversity or divisiveness, divisiveness and separation in cultures? Maybe Yondolma, this makes some sense to you, I don't know. But when we think about, and I was thinking about what he said, is how clever, almost an intelligence. If you want to invade, then you must do so from all fronts. The virus has affected us both at a physical and metaphysical level. Does that make sense, John Donman? Metaphysically, it has altered and changed perceptions in a variety of ways. And he said it a couple of times, as who knew? He said it like, who knew that this would be an agent of divisiveness, an agent of separation, an agent of anger and distraught, and an angel, I won't say maybe the dark angel of death. So interesting. But these things have already been prophesied because it is the nature of samsara. The veil of darkness, as I said to my acting students, stress and tension and worry, or the veil of darkness of creativity. But we also know that necessity is the light of creativity, changing the word from invention. So think about what is a virus for us is listen to His Holiness in the training of the mind. The three main viruses: ignorance, desire, and anger. The antidote that we need to be jabbed with. In Asia, you get a jab. Please, I want to affect, not effect. I want to affect you with loving kindness and compassion. And don't forget joyousness and equanimity. Put equanimity first. And as we go through this day, I will practice all through having an equanimous quality that is the foundation of loving kindness and compassion and joyousness. Maybe someone will call you today and give you some good news. And I hope you go, wonderful. I rejoice in your good fortune. By rejoicing in the good fortune of others, you receive the merit. And what do we do with merit? We give it away for the benefit of all sentient beings who are suffering in various ways throughout the six realms of existence. So to rejoice in the good fortune of others is very clever, don't you think? So I rejoice in being able to sit here and be among you, which I love to see your smiling faces. And if nothing more to say, take a break and be like a leaf floating on the stream. Or in a small boat in the middle of a star moonlit ocean with just the shimmering lights from the stars and the moon at night. And you arrive at a moment of peace and you take a breath in with such delight. Breathe in, breathing out again, just rest. I love seeing when I'm so inspired when I always see my teacher's face and they talk directly to me and I go, oh, I've known them 20, 30 years. They probably think, why is he still here? But they know it is our karma. Why are you still here? It is your karma. You cannot go. Try. The karmic link or damsak, once established, never break. That's why we do this Longva. So again, Shantideva, as I was thinking, Shantideva wrote these words and even simplified because he said, my mind is a little bit slow. My mind is a little bit slow. So I have to say this every day. Why is this happening? Oh, because all phenomena arise from causes. It didn't just happen. There was a causality. Now, I may not know the causality, but I can't walk around and go in bewilderment. Oh, why is this happening to me? Blah, 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 yada, yada, yada. Because that phrase gives me responsibility, and responsibility awakens consciousness and awareness and presence and perception and perspective. Oh, you can change. Take a breath in. Breathe out. What would you like to change today? The first thing that came without censoring. Make some small change. Small change. I forget his name. He has this very gravelly voice. Maybe you know who it is, but you can Google small change. Small changes can alter reality in the most significant of ways. Small change. Take a breath in. Perhaps you'll say, this is the change I will make today. The Buddha, he made vast changes. And that change rippled all the way down to the present day, didn't it? 저게 lumbo 저와 제베고 자게 가보 초다 차차고 다야다 오문네 문네 마하 문네 예수하 다야다 문네 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 So mane mane ma mane yozo mane mane ma mane yozo mane 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 yozo mane mane yozo mane mane yozo mane mane ma mane yozo mane mane ma mane yozo mane 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 yozo mane mane yozo mane mane yozo so mane mane ma mane yozo mane mane ma mane yozo mane mane yozo mane so mane mane ma mane yozo mane mane One receives the blessings, body, speech, mind, and knowledge and wisdom. Red, white, blue, multicolored, 5 rays. Then Jeta, so I was reading a little bit about when Buddha gave the teachings in the Jeta Grove Monastery. But imagine we were among his disciples in the Jeta Grove, or Jata. And he had given the instructions on how to practice Tonglen for the benefit of all sentient beings. And it may not have been, but we used the lotus, the moon, and the ah, radiant like a sun from within, or like the brightest star in the universe, filling your body with light which permeates and radiates out in the 10 directions for the benefit of all sentient beings. Giving out the quality of loving kindness and compassion, giving out your treasures of blessing and merit and happiness and fortune. Count the outgoing breath for a short period of time only. In our mind's eye, we visualize that our intentions have come to pass. And as we breathe out with space between our fingers and the eyes resting on the horizontal plane with soft eyelids, breathe gently in and out through your mouth. And the instructions from Lama Dawa Rinpoche, rest in the continuity of awareness. The Buddhas have never strayed from this recognition or realization, the same quality in which they rest, we possess. Rest. And as that quality, or as you breathe out, that quality does not sustain or diminish in any way. And just rest for a little bit. Rest in a mundane way. Water, move about, whatever. So, motivation for Vajrasattva practice or Doji Simpa practice. So Lama Zopa says, generate a strong motivation of bodhicitta. Let me back up just for a moment. Doji Simpa, Sambhoga manifesting from the Dhammakaya, the essence of Dhammadhatu, Dhammadapta, the essence of all of the Buddhas in their purity and enlightened quality of past, present, and future. So it gets switched sometimes, but the 52 wrathful and the 48 peaceful deity aspects manifestations reside within the totality of the body of Doji Simpa. So when one does the long Vajrasattva, one is connecting to that totality of pantheon, which is not separate from one's own enlightened pure quality. So when we say pure, the moment we say pure, that also indicates impure. So in the Doji Simpa, there is not one inkling, one iota of purity or impurity or that which is between. The total unfoldment of the vastness of Dhammadhatu, the enlightened, realized quality that is beyond all conceptuality and non-conceptuality. Generate a strong motivation of bodhicitta, enlightened altruistic thought to engage in practice for the benefit of all sentient beings. Dedicate your Vajrasattva practice to everyone, to every single hell being, hungry ghost, animal, human, Shura, and intermediate state being, humans. Your bodhicitta should be based upon reflection on all that your defilements, negative karma, and degenerate samya vows, and on impermanence and death. That death can happen at any moment. The best solution is to immediately do the Vajrasattva practice, which can purify all of these negative karmas. Due to all the past, present, and future merits collected by me, Buddhists, Bodhisattvas, and all other sentient beings, Chenjab Sunjun, due to all the past, present, and future merits collected by me, Buddhists, Bodhisattvas, and all other sentient beings, may I be able to bring benefit like the sky to all sentient beings, as all the great enlightened Buddhas and masters have done, by having the same qualities within me that all of the enlightened ones have had from now on in all my human lifetimes, may I fully fulfill and recognize. Anyway, it goes on and a lot more extensiveness, repeating things that we should remember as we engage in the practice. The main thing, as it points out, is to arouse bodhicitta. So when you take refuge, then bodhicitta. But bodhicitta, the altruistic thought, that it is not something that is we are doing so we can have less stress or less tension or less worry, or we can have more abundance, etc. And even our own suffering may not lessen, it actually may increase. But we keep the perspective that no matter what may occur, that I will always engage in practice for the benefit of others who are suffering in a much, much greater degree than we. And they have the same qualities as the enlightened ones, as thee, but do not recognize. And therefore, the suffering is immense and increase. In knowing this, great compassion should arise from within. What is more devastating to see someone struggling and cannot eat and cannot heal, but they have the means. They have the treasures within their pockets, but do not have the consciousness or the awareness to reach in and pull them out and make use. This is quite sad. Having all of the attributes to alleviate suffering, but all we do is create more and more for others and ourselves. So sad, don't you think? Therefore, your purpose, be the light that illuminates the darkness. Be the antidote. Be the vaccine that dispels the virus of the mind. Ignorance and desire, and anger, and prejudice, and violence, and so forth, which we all know so well. But come back again, I see Lama Dao holding up one finger and saying, you're talking, why you talk so much? Practice. Awareness, only the one. Urgen juji nanjan zambe ma geza dombo la zazen juji gudru ne bema june zazudra. Kudu gondo mambo gege zazu dadrugi junji loje zazu su gudru bema zide wong. Urgen juji nanjan zambe ma geza dombo la zazen juji gudru ne bema june zazudra. Kudu gondo mambo gege zazu dadrugi Junje loje zazu su guru bema zide hung urgen juji nanzan bema geza dumbola zazen joji guru ne bema june zazura udu ngando mambu gurgege zazu daruge junje loje zazu su guru bema zide hung urgen juji nanzan bema geza dumbola zazen joji guru ne bema june zazura udur ngado mabu gurgege zazu daruge jenje laje zazu guru bema zide Sema wo jojo joge yenge jangam zo jonye dojong ga mebe gan jojo dojo jewa jembo nanga jendo doje dore me lama joge gula zuwade burgen bema jone la zuwade deje doge nombe jangam zo gonjo nyoda nyode jene ge deje gande jewe jebego Oje kadra ne zo 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 do lama lo zo zo gula zo wa de bonien be ma jo ne la zo wa de me je den 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 be zeng am zo doje jembo jo we don la zan gan la gen do den ge don do ze de da ma zo do do zeng zong ge lama ju be gula zo wa de bonien be ma jo ne la zo wa de Gunzon dozon gera jeda zen bema gera nena tujo ya tujo nandron tudo ganzo zo Kada nama nala zuba de zende zende doje doje dan doje lonjo dombe doja ya nojo dombe dombe dozonge kode gugo jobe lonje ba dreme ozo jela zuba de zeje roje dola de dreme ozo de dozo zo oza doje namge najo ba jeme limbe jela zuba de dozo nyunye bama jenege zodo dobo zo gudo lo zenge dembe dembe dunjun kunjun jamba janla zo wade omen joge yinge bodanga dozo zange goje guru nge ranzen gugu kundo donzo be zowe lame nanla zo wade briro men joge yoge bodando dozo zange goje go nge ranzen gugu kunzo donze ba zowe lame zanla zo wade gewa kundu yondan lama dan jome chogi bala dojo jenza dan namje donjo nezo ne 도지 진지고 방도 투소 옴마홈 Take a yogic posture, visualizing the subtle body, the hollow vessel, imbued with the channels, chakras, nadis, and auxiliary channels. Breathe in, place on the knees, close the channel. Breath in, release. To cleanse and purify all the auxiliary chakras, nadis. The visualization to cleanse the speech. Om a I I u re re le le e u anga gaga gaga nga za za nya da 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 na da 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 na da 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 na ba 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 ma yara la wa sha ga za sha omedama hitobra hitutagata hayo atatakanza yonoro e vamenne maha samana soha. Then if you bless this Bhadra Samaya Za Om Bam Om Ritsa Ramane Bhava Daye Soha Pumpa Bhadra Samaya Za Om Bam Ho Om Bhadra Amrita Kundale Hana Om Pe. Then, now, in this way of practicing, a little bit different from Nundro, we summons and invoke and invite the presence of Doji Senpa and all of the entourage of peaceful and wrathful deities that dwell within the essence of the body, speech, and mind of the deity. Ranje Ninja Honde also Tube Lama Dan Lezo Be Gunjan Jodgin Gabo London Dun Dute Gabio Medzawa Mebe Gunun Dun Gedam Gabaza Sama Za Sange Dodan Zoge Jonam La Junjo Badu Dani Gabjo Daji Junjo Gebe Jonam Gedola Benze Zange Jobajo Sange do dan jo gi jo nan la jen jo ba jo dan ni ga ju ji da ji jen jo ge be jo nam ge jo la ben ze zen ge jo ba jo. Sange do dan jo gi jo nan la jen jo ba jo dan ni ga ju ji da ji jen jo ge be jo nam ge jo la ben ze zen ge jo ba jo za hum ba mo zo je na ra la ten ba gu. Uzon baja mahasuri harakaro dene doje torwa guru guze ram yam tham unzo arwa judo sava dhamma jude judo no dhombe nene rambo je nenye je gyeje we nondo doro gumbo bonzo zombo dajen gazo jembo gu oma hum 내 몸에 밭에 사파리가 라르바 사좀 아자 사타나 파제 제 대바나나 자 나무 사바다다가 더바 유미주 먹고 배 사바다다 먹게 돼 사파라 나면은 내가 뭐좋아 나무 사바다다가 더바 유미주 먹고 배 사바다다 먹게 돼 사파라 나면은 내가 뭐좋아 Namo Sabata Gata Bai Mishu Mugu Be Sabata Tamogate Sapa Ran Namina Kam Soha Gadana de La Do Zembo Da de Da Do Gadana de La Do Zembo Da de Da Do Gadana de La Do Zembo Da Bume pate yadye gatsa. Zombaja mahasri haragaro dene doji torwa guru yuze ram yam tham onzo harba zuto zarba dame zurbe zutoro 네 돈베 인양에 그런데 런도 제 니니 제 게주에 너도 더르마 카르도 노르는 본조 전변 단조 간조 젠버고 오마홍 사르부토라가 사라자 사르부토라가 사라자 사르부토라가 사라자 사바맹에네 너무 사바다다가 더바게 메주 무급에 사바 따따 먹을 사바라나 이런 거랑 그래 하나 이런 받는다 다예소아 사바맹에네 너무 사바다다가 더바게 메주 무급에 사바 따따 먹을 사바라나 이런 받는다 다예소아 사바맹에네 너무 사바다다가 더바게 메주 무급에 사바라 따따 먹을 사바라나 이런 거랑 그래 하나 이런 말은다 다 예수 순천잠재 조바다 도바군다 도바구지 도리한다 도리에군다 도바구지 동계메베담바담바다 메다와구지 제느레든다다 도바는다 제베메다담바구지 신전잠재 조바다 도바군다 도바구지 동계한다 도리에군다 도바구지 동계메베담바담바다 메다와구지 느레든다다 대화는내서내라는바구지 선천장제 조화당 대화군다 두바구지 동해다 동해군다 두바구지 동해매배든바든바다 매대화구지 누리든다다 대화는내서내라는바구지 Senchen Tamje Joba Dan, Dewa Da Duba Guji, Donia Da, Duge, Gunda Duba Guji, Tonge, Mebe Demba Demba Dan, Bedewa Guji, Denda Dan, Dewa Nese Bemela Demba Guji. Zetabu Manda Tuje Joba Dan, Tuje Mine Guji Joa Yi, Gawa Tuje Taje Tujaba, Zanje Joba Zanje Jigo. Sashi Boji Georgia Metro Drum River Dunze Nina Jambagi Zenge Zinda Meta Bugai Dongam no Zinda Juba Jo Idon Mandra Kanda Dayame Sashi Boji Georgia Metro Drum River Dunze Nina Jambagi Zenge Zinda Meta Bugai Dongam no Zinda Juba Jo Idon Mandra Kanda Dayame Sashi Boji Georgia Metro Drum River Dunze Nina Jambagi Zenge Zinda Meta Bugai Dongam Zinda Juba Jo Idon Mandra Nila Daya Me Badruzatu Samaya Manubadaya Badruzatu Jinova Didu Mebua Sudogaya Mebua Sudogaya Anaradu Mebua Zovaziri Mibreya Zuzara Kamazu Sada Data Gata Badramani Mudu Vendu Bhavana Samaya Satua Badruzatu Samaya Manubadaya Badu Badu Dinova Didu Mebua Sudogaya Mebua Sudogaya Mebua Anaradu Mebua so Siri Mebreya Zuzara Kamazu Zuzara Guru Sada Data Gata Badramani Mudu Vendu Bhavana Samaya Satua. Then the Vajrasattva practice that is in the collected sadhana, so we do short way. Vajra Samaya Za. So Doji Sempa again, entourage is in front of you, peaceful and the wrathful aspects appearing. Zadani Dhamma Jiru Vada Tawa Jinjevu Wande Nama Doje Zen Kaza Bonjo Tobegu Doje Jinzen Nema Dre Jola Zazo Demba Jon Jozun Dabo Dulu Za Jinze Zola Banyadon Todo Dawa Gende Den Honye Dama Gagebu Deba Gage Dulu Yajum Duru Jojoine Duze Chanda Zenge Den Gawa Dada Zamba Ye Dada Zenge Zenge Ele Dan Namo Dogo Nedon Nedon Madhava se eduso. Badruzatu Samaya Manopalaya Badruzatu Dinopa Didu Mabova Sudogaya Mabova Sudogaya Mabova Anaradu Mabova Zawazili Mibreya Zuzaragama Zudume Sedim Sidam Guru Hum Ahaho Bhagavan Saradadagadu Badramani Muzo Benzabava Samaya Satua Badruzatu Samaya Manu Badruzadu Dinoba Didu Mabova Sudogaya Mabova Subogaya Mabova Anaradu Mabova Zawazili Mibreya Zuzaragama Siddham Siddham Guru Hum Ha Ho Bhagavan Savadagada Badramani Muzo Benzabava Sadua Badruzadu Samaya Manovalaya Badruzadu Dinoba Didu Mabova Sudogaya Mabova Subogaya Mabova Anaradu Suvazili Mibreya Zuzaragama Zudume Siddham Siddham Guru Hum Ha Ho Bhagavan Savadagada Badramani Muzo Benzabava Samaya Sadua Badruzadu Manovalaya Badruzadu Dinoba Didu Mabova Sudogaya Mabova Subogaya Mabova Anaradu Mabova Savazili Namazudu Mezidum Siddham Guru Hum Bhagavan Savadagada Badramani Muzo Benzabava Samaya Sadua Badruzadu Manovalaya Badruzadu Dinoba Didu Mabova Sudogaya Mabova Subogaya Mabova Anaradu Mabova Savazili Mibreya Zuzumezidum Siddham Guru Hum Bhagavan Savadagada Badramani Muzo Benzabava Samaya Badruzadu Samaya Manovalaya Badruzadu Dinoba Didu Mabova Sudogaya Mabova Subogaya Anarado Mabova, Zili Mabea, Zaragama, Sedum Guru, Sada Gada Baru, and Muzo and the Bavana, Zamaya, Sotu, Adam, Badru, Zamaya, Manavada, Zudogaya Mabova, Zubogaya Mabova, Anarado Mabova, Zili Mabea, Zaragama, Guru. So you may answer, who am I now? Who and how should I see myself in the presence of Doji Senpai and the wrathful and peaceful deities? So in some texts it says you can imagine yourself to be a descendant of the 21 of the 25 disciples of Buddha Rinpoche. Or you can imagine that you are the great Samantabhadra. Why Samantabhadra? Supposedly, according to some texts, it says Samantabhadra, the 8th Bodhisattva, was the one who gave the biggest and the best, why I don't think the Bodhisattvas competed with each other, but this Bodhisattva Samantabhadra made vast offerings. But maybe for us, we just simple Bodhisattva in the presence of the embodiment of the enlightened qualities. Zumbadu Zada Zamaya Manavaya Badru Zadru Deno Badu Mebo Wazudo Gayo Mebo Wazudo Gayo Mebo Anaratu. So was it in Mebrea to Zara Gamazudo Mezu Guru, ha 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 ho Bhagavan Zavadata Badru. Mahazamaya Zadu Vadam Badru Zadu Zamaya Manovaya Badru Zadru Deno Badu Mebo Wazudo Gayo Mebo Wazudo Gayo. Anaratu Mebo Wazudo Mebrea Zara Gamazudo Mezu Guru, ha ha ho. So that Gada Badru Mani Mudavenda Bava Zamaya Zatu Vadam Badru Zadu Zamaya Manovaya Badru Zadu Deno Badu Subogaya Mabova Anaradu Mabova Zovaziri Mebaya Zara Gamazume Setum Sirum Guru Hum Ha Bhagavan Sava Gada Badru Manim Mahazamaya Zatu Vadam Badru Zatu Zamaya Manovaya Badru Zadu Deno Badu Mabova Zudogaya Mabova Zudogaya Mabova Anaradu. So Vasile Mebaya Zara Gamazume Setum Guru Hum Ha Bhagavan Sava Zumbatu Zatu Zamaya Manovada Yabatu Zatu Deno Badu Mabova Zudogaya Mabova Zudogaya Anaradu Mabova Vasile Mebaya Zara Gamazume Setum Guru Hum Ha Bhagavan Sava Medibava Mahazamaya Zatu Vadum Badru Zatu Zamaya Manovada Yabatu Zatu Deno Badu Mabova Zudogaya Mabova Zudogaya Anaradu Mabova Vasile Mebaya Zara Gamazume Setum Guru Hum Ha Bhagavan Sava Debava Mahazamaya Zatu Vadum Badru Zatu Zamaya Manovada Yabatu Zatu Deno Badu Mabova Zudogaya Mabova Zudogaya Anaradu Mabova Vasile Mebaya Zara Gamazume Setum Guru Hum Ha Bhagavan Sava Medibava Mahazamaya Zatu Vadum Badru Zatu Zamaya Manovada Yabatu Zatu Deno Badu Tudogaya Mabova Zubagaya Mabova Anaradu Mabova Vasile Mebaya Zara Gamazume Setum Guru Hum Ha Bhagavan Sava Badru Mani Muzo Medibava Mahazamaya Zatu Vadum Badru Zatu Manovada Yabatu Zatu Deno Badu Mabova Zudogaya Mabova Zubagaya Mabova Anaradu Mabova Zava Zara Gamazume Setum Guru Hum Ha Bhagavan Sava Badru Mani Muzo Medibava Mahazamaya Zatu Zumbadru Zatu Zamaya Manovada Yabatu Zatu Deno Badu Mabova Zudogaya Mabova Zubagaya Anaradu Mabova Zuvazili Mebaya Zara Gamazume Setum Guru Hum Ha Sadada Gada Badru Mani Muzo Medibava Mahazamaya Zatu Badru Zatu Zamaya Manu Badru Zatu Deno Badu Mabova Zudogaya Mabova Zubagaya Mabova Anaradu Mabova Zuvazili Mebaya Zara Gamazume Setum Guru Hum Ha Bhagavan Sava Gada Badru Mani Muzo Medibava Zamaya Zatu Badru Zatu Zamaya Manovada Badru Zatu Deno Badu Mabova Sudogaya Mabova Zubagaya Mabova Anaradu Mabova Zavasili Mebaya Zara Gamazu Setum Guru Hum Ha Bhagavan Sava Gada Badru Mani Muzo Medibava Mahazamaya Zatu Vadum Manovada Badru Zatu Deno Badu Mabova Sudogaya Mabova Zubagaya Mabova Anaradu Mabova Savasili Mebaya Zara Gamazu Setum Guru Hum Ha Sadada yadu baru mani mudo vende bhava mahazama yasato lumbadu zadu samaya manobadu yabadu zadu denobadu dudu. Sudogaya mabuwa zubagaya mabuwa zubagaya mabuwa anaradu mabuwa zubazili megayadu zadu gamadu zume. Sadum zedum guru hum ha 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 ho bhagavan savadada gada baru mani mudo vende bhava ma. Sato vadum badu zadu samaya manobadu yabadu zadu denobadu dudu mabuwa zubagaya mabuwa zubagaya mabuwa anaradu. So was it in a big Zidum Shilum Guru Hum Ha 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 Ho Bago Sada Dada Gada Badram and Muzum Boa Mahasama Yasatu Badru Sato Hum Badu Sato Hum Badu Sato Hum Badu Sato Hum Zumbadu Zado Badu Zado Badu Zado Badu Zado Badu Zado Badu Zado Zumbadu Zado Badu Zado Badu Zado Badu Zado Om Badra Sato Om A A I U Rivi Rivi I O Ananga Kaka Ganga Sata Tazanya Tata Tatana Tata Tatana Papa Papa Ma Yawa Gawa Jaga Jaha Sha Om Badra Sato Samaya Manubadaya Badra Sato Denova Dedu Dedu Magua Dudogaya Magua Dudogaya Magua Amarada Magua Dugasi Nebe Yadu Zarada Mudune Dedu Dedu Guru Hum Ha O Bhagavan Bhava Tata Tata Nane Mudo Vende Bhava Maha Samaya Sadua Umeda Ma Hedu Bhagava Hedu Dagata Hayo Vatata Ganda Yunurova E Vamene Maha Samanato Then the laying aside, omission, admission. Gombo dene meze mumba ye lamze namne gamze na lama gombo dabzo je dozo doje zombo de doje zombo jeni jen zoda zoda da gabje gonzon don zowa da ye damze namba tamze choda zazo deba da dre pa nedo dre mezo tamze jeje deba ze do so. Then go to the brief offering. And so in the brief offering, then you should imagine you have the Ratna, you have the Amrita, you have the Ratna, you have the Tonama, and you have the light offering. Nanda beje doma deyen donyo deje doba doba bo gonjo wa donjo ganje thar me rata mige nanjo bo donje mama jawa babo je jenge je targa doba bo ala la de je ba se do so Om Badra Sata Samaya Mano Bhavaya Badra Sata Denava Dedu Nabova Sudokaya Nabova Sudokaya Nabova Anaradu Nabova Zavaziri Nivaya Dudara Namazudane Sidam Siddham Guru Hum Ha 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 Ho Ho Bhagavan Savadata Gata Badra Mani Mudavendra Bhavana Satu Adam Badra Sata Samaya Mano Bhavaya Badra Sata Denava Dedu Nabova Sudokaya Nabova Sudokaya Dhammapala. Namo Guru Be, Namo Guru Be, Namo Guru Be. Then to summons, right, all you oath-bound protectors come to the black tea offering. Deba Dande Damzige, Dadon Gundo, Jen, Swum Sweetie Benza Hedaka, Rule Hum, Jo Hum Pe, Dine, Bajan, Dane, Ranjam, Gondo Be, Doje, Nudo, Zedo, Dro. Damze Yeje, Jeme, Doje, Meje, Dande, Goje, Gulu, Zeram, Zoma, Zoma, Om, So this last part in an abbreviated way is what I received last night from Lamadar Rinpoche, who's in Kalampong in India. So it's the same thing that you received from Kunjuk Mother Rinpoche, most of you. And it's the same last section. It's the most important section, not most important section. It is the foundation of practice, Guru Yoga. And in the simple instructions of great Naljilpa, great yogi, the heart son, the Doja Rinpoche, Jadra Rinpoche, rest in the recognition, in the continuity of awareness. Gently breathing out. Yo idea, doji simba juju ne, doma nyopa, dine sherla pyopa sho. Zegenbe gumwa, tumwa, genzun, paten, dowa, manda, dowa ne. Zenre, zenwa, tenzun, ganzo, zepe, ganzo, bado, tengu, Lumega nega zo tenjo je kumbo ganjo mado mendo je zebe meze ganjo mado ne da jen dundo da jen so umzo de zenge renge ge go de ne ga do do na den ba ye den ba ben ben ne jong do na zebe ne zeng go zeng do ye den den ne meze go go ga do de to na ga zo jen de do go je Nam je nam je je ban ye dop je nam je dam nam nam je shen ge je na je ban la tu la yi je be zo le do wa shu zamba ru do den da gun do zamba da ye da je de da de dun je da zo den da zen ge wa de dun je ga tu go as though you were holding up a light. Nam ye da do da ye zhen zhen na ma be zhen zhe zhen ge gun du de ba ma du zhe zhen zhen ma lu ba zhen 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 me zhe ba zhen ba shu da zhen na me gun zhe zhen ba dang ge yan ge wa de ge yo wa yi da zhe ma lu zhen zhe zhen du ne dun du zhen ge zhe ba shu den be ba ge la me zhe be den de zhen ge bu zhe den ge la ge den be dun da zhe ba ge dan ba yu ren na be da shi shu du den zhe be den zhe dong zhen ba zhe du den be da den zhe me le zo me la me den ba zhe de ba zhe du du zong gen be zhen gu ji chen ren bo zhe ma ge ba nam ge gu ji ge ba nam ba me ba ye gun du gen du ba hu su ga zo da ye dong wei dong du ju go yan do ju shen be zhe do ju na dra be ba den me gun zu den dan ba ren da ta shi da de shu Daya da unga te bare zunga te bodhisattva daya da munga te bare zunga te bodhisattva daya da munga te bare zunga te bodhisattva. So all the merit that you have accumulated from this brief practice, keep nothing for yourself, give it all away. Simple. Let go, let be, and rest. How should you rest? Rest in the continuum, in the continuity of present awareness. Maybe you can practice 10 minutes, 5 minutes, 10 minutes, 20 minutes every day, Rinpoche says. And I think you might find it at least quite beneficial to vaccinate yourself. Self-vaccination against the virus of ignorance and the desire and anger and the arrogance and the pride and the greed and the stupidity, etc. Anyway, if nothing more, I hope you had a delightful morning into the early afternoon, and may the rest of your day be blessed with loving kindness and compassion. Good day, everyone. Wonderful to see you.
Thank you, Rinpoche.
Thank you.
Bye.
Thank you, Rinpoche.
Sure.
Thank you.
Thank you, Rinpoche.
Have a great day.
Tashi Dale.
Thank you, Rinpoche. Kali Pep. Hopefully we will see you tomorrow.
Touch the day.
Tashi delay, Ian, Master Ian.
Rinpoche.